Raleigh, North Carolina just made #1 on another list, but unfortunately this time it's not a good list. We're gonna break it all down for you, tell you all about it up next. Hi, this is Chris Morton, real estate broker with eXp Realty in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Raleigh has made #1 on a list again. Unfortunately this time it ain't the good list. So Zillow recently came out with a report that said that Raleigh, North Carolina has the most dramatic reduction in housing inventory in the entire country from last year to this year. Over 50% less houses available to buy this year than last year. On top of that, LendingTree just came out with a report saying that Raleigh was the 3rd most competitive market to buy a house in the United States, behind only San Jose, California, and San Francisco, California. So what does all this mean to you if you're buying or selling a home right now? Well, we are not trying to scare you with this information. We believe knowledge is power, and so we're gonna break it all down for you, give you the facts, let you know where your solutions may be and what the overall market solutions are gonna be. And make sure you stay until the end, because we are going to break down the average amounts buyers have to pay over asking price to win the house of their dreams. So first, where are we now? What is the current situation? Well, there are currently 1,850 homes for sale in the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill Triangle area, which sounds good, except we should have around 12,000 homes right now in a typical year. In addition, those 1,850 homes are in a population of 1.8 million people, and we're adding 100 people a day to the market. Obviously, this is making it very difficult to buy a house, and so buyers are nervous, they're irrational, they're getting easily upset and stressed out, they're having to write multiple offers on multiple houses, and unfortunately they're losing most of their bids that they put in on these houses, even though they're paying way over asking price. They're paying way more in earnest money and due diligence money to secure the house, and giving up all kinds of things, like they're waiving their inspection report so that the seller is not doing any repairs on the house. All kinds of things like that are happening. And in normal years, the asking price was always the price that you started at and negotiated down from. In today's market, the asking price is really just the beginning starting bid on most houses. If you submit an offer to buy a house and your offer is the asking price, in most cases, that's not gonna win you the house. Now, if the house is in bad condition, has been on the market a while, there is a chance that you can negotiate down, and that's a little bit of a secret to throw out to you early, that if you are finding it difficult to find the house of your dreams, maybe the house of your dreams needs to be bought and fixed up. Just a thought. And on the seller side, sellers are getting top dollar for their house. Some are even getting a little greedy and asking for even more money. They're not having to do repairs, and as you can imagine, this is great for the sellers, but it's really bad for buyers. They're getting very nervous. They're very tense about the situation. They're going into buying homes sight unseen, these buyers are, meaning they don't even get to go in the home before they make an offer on it and pay top dollar and pay a lot of due diligence fee money that is most of the time not refundable. You can imagine this is a pretty toxic brew that is brewing here. And because of this, because of all this going on, about 20 to 25% of all homes under contract fall out of contract right now. Buyers get very excited about buying a house based on the pictures, based on emotional, irrational exuberance about the house. They finally secure the house, they finally can take a breath, and they realize, wait a minute, that house is an hour away from my work. Or they get to go in the house, do an inspection, whether they are allowed to submit an inspection report to the seller or not, they can still do an inspection. Anyway, they do an inspection and they find out there's all kinds of things wrong with the house. So this stuff is causing lots of homes to fall out of contract, and sellers are having to put homes back on the market. So what can sellers do in this current hyper active market? Well, they don't want those contracts that we just talked about a second ago to be canceled, because They've got a hassle with putting the home back on the market again. They got a hassle with more showings on that home. They got a hassle with the stress of it all, and it probably is going to mess up their plans to move to their next house. So, sellers need to prepare ahead of time. The most important thing everyone can do that I highly recommend if you're thinking about selling your house is have it well staged, have it decluttered, have it look like a model. And when I say look like a model, I think you know what I'm talking about. If you ever have been to a new construction neighborhood and gone and seen their models, there's no clutter. Everything is perfectly minimal and looks great and shiny and glistening and awesome. Buyers want that when they see your home. They want that look to know that it's, at least perception is, that it's in great shape. When cleanliness, tidiness, shininess is equivalent to a nice house for buyers. But most sellers are gonna think, I don't need to stage my home. It's gonna sell anyway. And yeah, that's true. It probably will sell if you're not perfectly dolled your house up. But know that even in today's market, homes that are staged, look good, repairs are done, all of that stuff sell for top dollar. So instead of getting a high offer on your house, you may get an obscenely high offer on your house. It's worth your time to get the work done. The next thing I would recommend, and I talked about it just a second ago, is repairs. If there's anything big wrong with your house, your roof, your plumbing, your electrical, heating and air system, anything major wrong with your house, go ahead and get it worked on before you put your home on the market for sale, or at least account for it and plan for it and let the buyers know, we know the roof has flaws and it's going to need to be replaced. We will be replacing it before the house sells. So that will help put those buyers at ease. They're going to be less likely to cancel the contract when they discover the roof is bad if you let them know ahead of time. The next step I would highly recommend you do is get professional photography and professional full motion video done on your house before you put it live to sell. What professional photography and professional video does for your house is it shows your house in the very best light, and it also allows those buyers that maybe won't get a chance to go in your house before they make an offer, it allows them to see truly what your house is like, especially that full motion video. And I am not talking about having your real estate agent do those photos that move, but they're still static. I mean having someone go through the house with a video camera and walk through the house as if they're touring a potential buyer through your house. If your real estate agent is not willing to do a full motion video like this, you need to get a new real estate agent. It is absolutely mandatory in today's day and time that you have a video done so that your buyers can see what your home is really like, and they're not going to waste your time writing an offer on a house that really doesn't work for them, and worse yet, cancel a contract after you've accepted their contract. And the last thing I would recommend you do is make sure you fill out the residential property disclosure that your real estate agent is going to give you. Make sure you fill that thing out as truthfully and accurately as you possibly can. Don't deceive anyone by saying the roof is fine when you know the roof is not fine. It will get caught. It's going to cause contracts to cancel, and it'll cause all kinds of headaches and heartaches for you down the road. And for buyers, what can you do in this situation? Well, the very first thing you must do is calm down. I know it's stressful. I know it's nerve-wracking. I know you need to be somewhere and you need to be somewhere fast, but calm down. Relax and know that your real estate agent, if you work with us, we're gonna tell you the same thing. Calm down, we will find you a house. The next thing I can tell you, if you're a buyer, start earlier than you think you're gonna need to start. If you need to be somewhere in 2 months, you need to probably start looking 3 or 4 months out for that house. Go ahead and secure it. Maybe you can do a rental back to the seller. Whatever needs to happen for you to secure your house. You don't want to be running up against a 1-week deadline to be in a new town if you need to buy a house. The third thing I will tell you if you're thinking about buying a home is get real, get honest with what you need in a house and what you'd like to have in a house. Do not waste your time, your agent's time, but especially your time, going out and seeing homes that do not fit your needs. If you need a master bedroom on the first floor, Do not waste time going to see any houses with master bedrooms on the third floor. Your rationale is going to be, well, maybe we can make it work. And yes, you probably can make it work for a year or two, but then you're going to be right back in this situation again in a couple years, and prices may be even higher. Don't waste your time seeing the homes with the master bedroom on the third floor if you need it on the first floor. The time you're spending seeing those third floor master homes is time you could be spending seeing the ones where the bedroom is where you need it to be. The next thing I will tell you, be prepared to pay over asking price for that home. We've talked about it a little bit on this video. We've talked about it on other videos. Homes are selling for over asking price in general today. So you need to be prepared to pay over that. If your maximum budget is say $400,000, you probably need to be looking at homes in the $350,000 range. Hopefully you won't have to pay an extra $50,000 for that house, but be prepared to do so. Look for homes under your price range. Also, if you can afford to go up in a price band, definitely recommended to do that. From $0 to $499,000 is right now our sweet spot in the Raleigh Triangle market, meaning that's where the most activity is, that's where the most people are out competing. So if you can afford to go 500, 550, 6 on up, you're gonna have a lot less competition. It's gonna be easier for you to secure that house, and you're not gonna be stressed to have to see a house and make a decision in 15, 20 minutes. And along those lines, if you aren't in the Raleigh Triangle market, consult with your real estate agent. Find out what the sweet spot is in your market, in the house you're looking to buy, so you know which price band is gonna be the most competitive for you, and you can know what to avoid if at all possible. And finally, for buyers, if you are planning to buy a house sight unseen where you don't go in the house at all, then you need to be very diligent in your research on this house. Look the photos over. If you can pinch and zoom photos on your iPad, iPhone, or your computer to look for all the little nooks and crannies, please do that. If the listing agent has provided a floor plan, study that floor plan. Make sure that the room sizes are going to be good for you, that the configuration of the home is going to be good for you. Hopefully there's a video that you can watch to kind of virtually tour the home. All the better that way. That property disclosure I talked about earlier for the sellers, comb through that. Make sure everything looks good. If you have any concerns about something, I had clients that had a house that they really wanted this week, and we combed through the property disclosure and found out there was a structural issue that the seller said they may or may not be willing to fix that could have cost an additional $40,000. We, of course, did not make an offer on that home, but we would have never known it had we not combed through that property disclosure and asked the right questions. If you are local and in the Raleigh area, then drive by the home. Take a look at the exterior. See what the upkeep of the yard looks like. That's generally what the upkeep of the interior is gonna look like. And if you aren't available, have your real estate agent go do that for you and video it for you. I do this all the time, where I video the exterior of a home that we can't get into, upload it to YouTube in an unbranded site that no one can go to unless I send you the link, and my buyers are able to get a feel for at least the outside, if not the inside of the home. And the last tip along these lines, look at past sales of this house and look at recent sales of the neighborhood to come up with a good idea about what you should pay, over asking unfortunately, to get a feel for how much homes are going for over asking price in this particular neighborhood. So what are the possible solutions to get us out of this housing shortage? Well, the first one is for new construction to kick in and for more homes to be built. Unfortunately, this is a slow process. You cannot build a home overnight. It oftentimes takes a couple of years to go through the permitting process, and then at least 5, 6, 7 months to build a house. Basically, home builders are still trying to get caught up from the Great Recession of 2008 through 2010. They still aren't there yet. And then on top of that, the pandemic caused home building in general to slow down. There's fewer vendors out there to be subcontractors on homes. Lumber prices and other material prices have skyrocketed and are in short supply today. So this is all causing home building to slow down and unfortunately not be able to contribute in the short term to this housing problem we have. But in the long term, it will kick in and will be part of the solution. The second solution to this problem is for more sellers to put their homes on the market. Eventually, word is going to get out what kind of profit someone's going to be able to make on their home, and more people are going to get off the fence and put their home for sale on the market, which is of course going to increase inventory. Beyond that, the vaccine supply is getting out there to combat the pandemic, which is going to make some sellers more comfortable about having people come in and out of their homes, and that should as well increase supply. Finally, the other solution to this problem in regard to sellers is the silver tsunami that's coming up. This is basically when baby boomers are downsizing, selling their current home, moving to a smaller home, which will free up that inventory for people who need the larger homes that these baby boomers are leaving. And finally, another solution to this problem is that less buyers are going to be out buying. Eventually, some of the buyers that are out today are going to get frustrated with the process. They're going to get frustrated with putting in offers for $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 over the asking price and still not getting the house. They're going to give up, get on the sidelines and just rent somewhere, or they're going to stay in their current home situation until the marketing conditions improve and inventory improves. Beyond that, interest rates will eventually start rising, and this will reduce the number of buyers that can afford a home, therefore reducing the number of buyers that are out there. Also, at some point, home prices are going to get so high that some buyers are just going to get priced out of the market and are not going to be able to afford to buy a house. So that will reduce the population of buyers out there as well. And so all this will result in fewer buyers out chasing the homes that are on the market, which should hopefully get us close to an equilibrium so that for every buyer there will be an available home to buy. So to give you an idea of how much home buyers have been paying over the asking price to get into a home, I'm going to break it down for you by the price bands. So all the homes that make up these price bands have sold in the last 30 days in Wake County, which is where Raleigh is, and sold within a 5-day period of time. So without further ado, so in the $200,000 to $300,000 price category, homes on average sold for $10,000 over asking price. In the $300,000 to $400,000 price category, homes on average sold for $14,000 over asking price. In the $400,000 to $500,000 price category, homes sold for over $19,000 over asking price. In the $500,000 to $750,000 price category, homes in this category sold on average for $24,000 over asking price. In the $750,000 to $1 million price category, homes sold for on average $23,000 over asking price. And for homes over $1 million, those homes sold on average for $22,000 over asking price. So now let's look at some specific examples of homes that sold in the past month. This home was listed for $260,000, sold in 2 days for $320,000. This home was listed for $360,000. It sold in 3 days for $410,000. And this home was listed for $1.2 million. It sold in 3 days for $1,325,000. And finally, this home is an example of why it is imperative for all home sellers to have their home looking great, ready to go, and perfect when it hits the market so that the days on market are very, very short. This home was listed on the market for $765,000. It sold for $745,000 after being on the market for 98 days. So again, it's essential for you, if you're thinking of selling your home, to get everything right with your home and allow everything to happen quickly so that you can get top dollar and you don't have to take a price reduction in this day and age. So that's where our current market is today for buying a home in the Raleigh-Wake County area. I hope this has been helpful. Please like and subscribe below. We'd love to have you join us, and we will see you next time for the next video. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.